Christ, peace and protection on you all, friends. You know, gospel passages like the one we had this weekend are really important because they cut so deeply right to the heart of what Christ was about and who we are to copy. And this weekend, that basic commandment of Christ, of course, is to love. To love our blessed Lord and to love those around us. Beautiful, simple, and basic. Friends, I submit to you that this is probably the most basic social and spiritual Christian concept, a concept that took the ancient world by storm. This idea that all of us have an infinite value and worth, no matter our race, no matter our social class or standing. And all of us have the divine presence within us. And which is something truly unique and very, very precious. And because all of us here this evening, and those online and all those around we know, are loved dearly by God, if we profess faith in Jesus Christ, then guys, we have to do our best to love others as well. This basic Christian philosophical view, which I think, folks, runs the risk of being smothered in our very heavily narcissistic culture today. And I dare say, if it's lost, in one sense, it will deal a tremendous, if not a grievous and fatal blow to the civilization that you and I are part of. And as we know, which I think is what's happening as we speak, as we see the decline of morality, justice, peace, and very much social cohesion. And you know what, folks, when you think about this, I'd also submit that the parish structure, as weak and as inefficient as it is at the moment, it's probably the last stronghold in this world of a community-orientated framework. A physical framework that pumps into this very crazy, confused, and a sad world the idea that everybody has infinite value and worth, that you're loved unconditionally by God, the same one who died on the cross, folks, out of love to give us freedom away from death. So that not only does death have no hold over us, but we can reach eternal life. And you know what, everybody? It's in knowing your value and worth in the eyes of God. All of us are commissioned to share that truth with other people and how we speak and act to others. I know when you think about it, everybody, practically every other kind of business, structure, or a facet of modern life, they're all measured in success by how much economic wealth we can squeeze out of stuff and out of people, pressuring people for a maximum economic output. In short, so many structures in our world today, they use people for monetary gain, or economic, or a big one today, social influence. That's where the real power today holds, is in social influence. Now, folks, please don't get me wrong. The business of business is business, okay? It's part and parcel of our world. But when we lose sight of our humanity in a very serious way, and the truth that all of us are made for God and to be in relationship with each other, then we're in very, very dangerous water. The economic horrors and the war-torn horrors of the past century was the result of what happens when we strip our human dignity, value, and worth away from people. It's extremely dangerous. You see, friends, when we take away our divine value, our worth in this world, people are left with nothing else. No aspirations, no passion in their life. There's no ambition for the higher goods, as St. Paul would say, except monetary success. Or in today's world, a big thing is be as comfortable as you possibly can. That's a huge pressure to be as comfortable as you possibly can. You know, the least amount of responsibility as possible, but to have everything on tap as quick as possible. That's why you see third-level colleges have now become little more than a money-making racket. Young people are pressurized to go into these huge social experimentation hubs in one sense, just for monetary gain. Really dangerous. You have to subscribe to as many streaming platforms as possible. Stay on the couch as much as you possibly can. Really dangerous stuff. And what does this do? Folks, it simply turns us in on ourselves. Our ears are now plugged with earbuds and earphones. Our eyes are plugged with phones and TV screens. Our mouths are plugged with Big Macs as well. All false attempts to be as happy as we can in this world. And again, friends, don't misunderstand me. This is not an anti-money or an anti-technology rant. These are very important things in our world. They have their place, but we have to be reminded of the question, which the gospel is so clear this evening. Do we notice others anymore? Who is your neighbor? Basic relationships. Who is your neighbor? And I would offer a warning, which is a warning has been echoed throughout history, to be aware of those who build without God. They build their structures upon sand and always will offer false love, false compassion, and at the end of the day will consume itself. Friends, to follow Jesus Christ, it essentially means that your life, it is no longer about you. If you invite Christ in your heart, anyone out there, if you invite Christ into your heart, what happens? He begins to turn your heart and your mind, your eyes towards other people. The inwardly becomes outwardly. Christian marriage, for example, holds this at its most deepest core of that sacrament. Where in marriage, you open yourself completely, your whole being, to the other person without terms or conditions, to suffer with them if necessarily. Christian marriage, in my view, is truly a selfless act of real love and a witness, folks, we desperately need in our community and our country once again. That the civilization of the West, it is built on the idea that you and I have eternal value. We're loved by God and called personally by Christ to reciprocate that love to other people in our compassionate acts and words of hope and encouragement. And as I take over as moderator for these 3 parishes starting from tomorrow, folks, let's genuinely renew our relationship with Jesus and with each other. For our commitment as followers of Christ in the 21st century, and to give a witness to the world as best we can, the truth that Christ loves each and every one of us, and we will not walk past those who have less off on us. That we recognize in every man, woman, and child are eternally valued by God. And so, friends, shortly, my point this evening is that the love of God and love of neighbour is the foundational block upon which our church, our parish, and our civilization is built upon. And it is in loving Christ and others we find true happiness, peace, and social cohesion, which our gloomy world most certainly needs at present.